Happy Tuesday. It's time for Yay or Nay. First up, a professor from the University of Pennsylvania, that's the hard one to get into, is getting some much-deserved heat for an offensive tweet that she posted about presidential candidate Dr. Ben Carson after reading a Sports Illustrated interview where Carson said he didn't mind NASCAR fans flying the Confederate flag on private property. The professor that you see there with that lovely hair says, if only there was a, let's see, how are we going to do this? Insert racist term that rhymes with tune. How's that? Beginning with the letter C of the Year Award. Okay, so you probably understand where we're going with that. Anyway, that's just a whole bowl of wrong. So this professor previously tweeted that God was a white racist after George Zimmerman was acquitted in the Trayvon Martin case. Will she lose her job, or will this be excused because a Republican was the target? I ask you, Ben.
She will not lose her job. And I appreciate the professor's candor, even though I think her message was particularly odious.
It's just the example being said. She's using racial slurs against a presidential candidate. Ben Carson never hurt anybody, and yet I agree with you. I don't think she'll be reprimanded in any capacity.
She probably won't, and she should be, because I think, you know, as a professor, she's saying to all of these students at the University of Pennsylvania that this kind of really disgusting speech is okay.
Right,
it's
Wharton
not.
School of Business.
I actually think she was. I don't think she's at the Wharton School of Business.
Yeah, I know, but that's the home of the Wharton School of Business.
I think she will be reprimanded. I don't think she'll be fired. I actually don't think she should be fired, and not because it was a Republican. I would say exactly the same if it was reversed. It's freedom of speech, folks, and we allow that, and we support it. Obviously, what she said was disgusting.
Right, but if you say freedom of speech, I can go, you know, if I go out and say something like heinous about the banking community and my Twitter feed, what I do for a profession, then I'm going to have, if I said something horrible about my employer, there's going to be repercussions for me.
You're right.
Having freedom of speech doesn't mean that you're not an idiot and shouldn't be fired.
I agree that she's an idiot, but she is allowed to say, I don't think she will be fired because she's working for a public university.
To that point, if a conservative professor said something about
Barack
Obama, I guarantee you he would be fired.
Well, I don't know that that's true. Okay. I really don't.
A hypothetical that we'll never know the answer to. Anyway, next up, an op-ed in the New York Times is suggesting that both Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders are doing well in their respective parties because they both have New York accents that promote the I tell it like it is personas while getting the points across in argumentative settings like debates. That's the worst New York accent ever. I'm from Jersey. I have no excuse. Anyway, let's get right to the question. Is being a loud New Yorker the key to the White House? Unger from California.
Well, it never has been in the past. Hard to imagine it will be now.
Didn't work for Al Smith, did it?
No.
Yes, Morgan.
No, I don't think that tends to translate well to Middle America.
Good, no.
But does it show at least authenticity that they have the accent, they're not hiding who they are? Like Hillary is South Carolina South 1 minute.
Worked for Jimmy Carter.
It did work for
Well, I
Jimmy
think it's
Carter.
interesting.
And Bill Clinton.
Bernie Sanders, socialist from Brooklyn. I think it's representative of the Democratic Party that he's in the lead with that accent and all that baggage.
Very good point. Okay, next up,
No, I think that was an insult in there. I think it is representative of the Democratic Party. That's a good thing.
See, now we slipped that in there. Very good, Ben. Anyway,
honest liberal.
Next, a weather forecaster on a Russian state-owned news network. This is tremendous. Included in her weather report that the weather in Syria on Saturday was, quote, good weather for bombing, unquote, and went on to say that it was also, second quote, ideal for carrying out operations, and that, quoting again, like cloud cover, will not make flying more difficult and will not influence the systems for aiming weapons. We don't get that here in the U.S. now, do we, from Mr. G or any of these other phonies like Storm Field? Anyway, complete with the video of airstrikes that she showed as well. Take that, Sam Champion. Saturday was the 4th day in a row that Russia bombed the hell out of Syria. Will this kind of weather forecasting catch on in the States? I ask you, Morgan, a former weather forecaster yourself.
I did want to be a weather forecaster when I was a kid.
You look like you could.
Yeah, thanks. Wow, that's you know, I mean, the situation in Syria, as someone who served in the Middle East for a long time, is so bad that I hate to even joke about it. And these people are. Whoever said this is disturbed.
That's the thing. When you're doing weather forecasts, like, hey, you're going to be able to kill more people today.
What language was the weather forecast in? Was that in
Russian?
It looked Russian.
It was Russian.
Oh, yeah.
Well, then it makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's a Vladimir Putin approved weather report.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, it's all state-run media,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's just amazing the tentacles that the Soviet Union's back. I don't care what anybody says.
No, it's not.
Ivan
Their
Drago,
economy's
Sylvester
not
Stallone,
there.
and Rocky
Ivan
4
Drago.
or 7 now at this point. It's happening. Anyway, that's all for tonight. I'm Joe Concha on behalf of Rick Unger and the rest of the Pulitzer Bureau. We thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. The Steve Malzberg Show. That's next.